In this presentation, we will explore the C++ memory model, with a focus on understanding C++11 memory model and atomic operations. This is very important when writing multi-threaded programs. It helps in creating robust and reliable concurrent applications. We'll cover the fundamentals, memory order semantics, atomic operations, synchronization mechanisms, and practical applications. The C++11 memory model provides guarantees about how memory operations are observed by different threads, when modifications become visible to other threads, and how to avoid data races and undefined behavior. Before C++11, multi-threaded behavior was implementation-defined, leading to platform-specific code, unpredictable behavior across compilers, and difficult-to-diagnose concurrency bugs. Here are a couple of code snippets to illustrate the importance of memory model. The first example shows the problem of data races and undefined behavior when shared data is accessed concurrently without proper synchronization. The second example shows how C++11 atomic operations can be used to solve this problem. Without proper synchronization, an integer variable shared data is initialized to 0. The thread1 function writes 42 to the shared data, while the thread2 function may or may not see the updated value when it reads the shared data. Using C++11 atomic operations, a standard atomic integer variable shared data is initialized to 0. The thread1 function uses the store method to atomically write 42 to the shared data. The thread2 function uses the load method to atomically read the shared data, and is guaranteed to see either 0 or 42. The C++11 memory model introduces different memory ordering semantics to control how threads interact with memory. These semantics define the order in which memory operations are observed by different threads, and affect both compiler optimizations and CPU instruction reordering. The strongest ordering guarantee is sequential consistency, indicated by memory order sequence constant. It ensures all threads observe the same order of operations, and operations cannot be reordered. This is the default memory ordering in C++, and is the most intuitive, but can be slower compared to other options. On the other extreme, there is relaxed ordering, indicated by memory order relaxed. This is the weakest ordering guarantee, and only ensures atomicity. It provides no synchronization between threads, operations can be reordered, and it offers the best performance, but is the hardest to reason about. Then there is acquire-release semantics, indicated by memory order acquire and memory order release. This is a middle ground between sequential and relaxed ordering. With release semantics, all writes before the release operation are visible to any thread that acquires the lock. With acquire semantics, all reads after the acquire operation will see any writes that occurred before the release. This creates synchronization points and offers better performance than sequential consistency. Atomic types, which are part of standard atomic template, provide operations that happen indivisibly. This guarantees no data races when accessed from multiple threads, and prevents torn reads and writes. It also provides synchronization points between threads, and is available for built-in types and user-defined types, provided they are lock-free. Some key atomic operations are load, which is an atomic read, store, which is an atomic write, exchange to swap values atomically, and compare exchange, which allows you to compare and swap values. All these operations can specify memory ordering as an optional parameter. Here is an example that shows how to use atomic operations. The first example uses the increment operator, which is an atomic increment. The second example uses explicit memory ordering. We start with the include statements, including atomic and thread libraries. An atomic integer variable called counter is initialized to 0. The increment function takes an integer n as input. It increments the counter n times using the increment operator. For using explicit memory ordering, we consider a worker function that takes a Boolean isProducer. If isProducer is true, an integer variable value is initialized to 42, and the counter stores the value with release semantics. Otherwise, the counter loads the value with acquire semantics, ensuring that all writes before the store are visible here. Here's an example illustrating sequential consistency. We'll start with the code and then move on to a visualization. The code sets up two atomic Boolean variables, x and y, both initialized to false. Additionally, there are two integer variables r1 and r2 initialized to 0. The thread1 function stores true into x, and then sets r1 to 1 if y is true or 0 otherwise. The thread2 function stores true into y, and then sets r2 to 1 if x is true or 0 otherwise. With sequential consistency, the result where r1 and r2 are both 0 is impossible because the operations cannot be reordered. The main function starts two threads, thread1 and thread2, waits for them to complete, and then prints the values of r1 and r2. Now for the visualization. We have thread1 on the left and thread2 on the right, with a shared memory in the middle. The arrows indicate the flow of operations. From thread1, x store true goes to shared memory, then r1 equals y load also goes to shared memory. Similarly, from thread2, y store true goes to shared memory, then r2 equals x load also goes to shared memory. With sequential consistency, the possible results are 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1. The result of 0, 0 is impossible because the operations cannot be reordered. Now let's consider an example using relaxed ordering, starting with the code and then the visualization. The code again sets up two atomic Boolean variables x and y, both initialized to false, along with two integer variables r1 and r2 initialized to 0. The thread1 function stores true into x using relaxed memory order, and then sets r1 to 1 if y is true, or 0 otherwise, also using relaxed memory order. The thread2 function does the same, but stores true into y and sets r2 based on the value of x, both using relaxed memory order. With relaxed ordering, the result where r1 and r2 are both 0 is possible because operations can be reordered. The main function starts two threads, thread1 and thread2, waits for them to complete, and then prints the values of r1 and r2. Now for the visualization. Similar to the previous example, we have thread1 on the left, thread2 on the right, and shared memory in the middle. However, this time the arrows are dashed to indicate the possibility of reordering. With relaxed ordering, the possible results are 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1 because the operations can be reordered. Next, we will look at an example illustrating acquire-release semantics, starting with the code, and then the visualization. The code includes atomic, thread, and IOStream libraries. We have an atomic Boolean variable named ready, initialized to false, and an integer variable named data, initialized to 0. The producer function sets up the data by assigning 42 to it. Then it performs a release operation by storing true into the ready variable with memory order release. This ensures that all writes before this point are visible to any thread that acquires it. The consumer function performs an acquire operation by waiting for the ready flag to become true using memory order acquire. After the acquire succeeds, the data is guaranteed to be visible with the value 42, which is verified by an assert statement. Now let's move on to the visualization. On the left side we have the producer thread, and on the right side the consumer thread. In the middle, we have the shared memory containing the data and ready variables. The producer first sets data equal to 42, and then performs a release operation on the ready variable. The consumer waits for the ready variable to be set to true using an acquire operation, and then asserts that data equals 42. This assert will always succeed because the release operation ensures that all writes before it are visible to any thread that performs an acquire operation. Memory barriers, also known as fences, enforce ordering constraints without being tied to specific atomic variables. There are two types of memory fences: atomic thread fence and atomic signal fence. Memory fences are useful when multiple atomic variables need synchronized access, when implementing custom synchronization primitives, and when optimizing complex lock-free algorithms. Benefits of using memory fences includes more flexible than per operation memory ordering. It can be more efficient in some scenarios and allows finer control over memory ordering. Here's an example on how to use them. Consider the code with data array and ready flag. The producer sets up the data, writes 42 and 97 to the data array, and then calls atomic thread fence with memory order release. This creates a full memory barrier, ensuring that all memory operations before this point cannot move after it. Now, the store operation to the ready flag can use relaxed ordering because the fence already provides the necessary guarantee. On the consumer side, we wait for the ready flag to become true using relaxed memory order. Then we call atomic thread fence with memory order acquired to ensure that all memory operations after this point cannot move before it. As a result, the reads of the data array are guaranteed to see the values written by the producer. Memory fences are advanced tools and should be used with caution. Incorrect usage can lead to subtle concurrency bugs. There are several common concurrency patterns that leverage atomic operations and memory ordering. Let's explore a few of them. First, we have double-check locking, which efficiently checks a condition without always acquiring a lock. It performs a first check without a lock for a fast path, and if needed, it acquires a lock and checks again. This requires proper memory ordering to prevent race conditions. Next, we have read copy update or RCU, which allows lock-free reads while updates make a copy. Readers never block, writers create a new version, and an atomic pointer swap is used to publish the changes. Lastly, we have hazard pointers, which provide safe memory reclamation for lock-free data structures. Threads register pointers they're accessing, and memory is only freed when no thread is using it, preventing use after free errors in lock-free code. These patterns require careful implementation with proper memory ordering semantics to ensure correctness. The code demonstrates an implementation of double-checked locking in the get instance method. It first performs a check without acquiring a lock. If the instance is null, it acquires a lock and checks again. If the instance is still null, it creates the instance and publishes it with release semantics using an atomic store operation. Here's a summary of the key takeaways from our discussion on the C++11 memory model. There are different memory ordering options, with sequential consistency being the strongest and most intuitive, acquire release providing synchronization points, and relaxed offering atomicity only for best performance. Atomic operations provide indivisible operations on shared data, preventing data races and torn reads or writes, enabling lock-free programming techniques. When it comes to best practices, it's recommended to use sequential consistency by default, only optimize with relaxed ordering when necessary, and document memory ordering assumptions clearly. Common pitfalls include assuming all operations are naturally ordered, forgetting synchronization between threads, and underestimating compiler or hardware reordering. Understanding the memory model is essential for writing correct concurrent C++ code. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.